The king of games, Yugi, was totally robbed in Duelist Kingdom Dynasty series. I'm sorry. I robbed him of victory. He would have won the whole tournament. Hello everybody, and welcome back to more of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dynasty Series Battle City deck profiles. It's me, Cooper, and today we get to talk about the king of games, Mr. Yugi Muto, and his interesting deck, because Battle City is where he got a ton of cards, and they're all confusing, and they're all very, very hard to... it was hard to make a 40-card deck for this man. If I could have, I would have put a 90-card deck on this guy. I'm not even joking. I literally, it was so hard to make a 40-card deck. Let's go ahead and get into this man's ace monster, Slifer the Sky Dragon. That's right. This man has a Slifer, and this card is a beast. In fact, it's a god. This god card is incredible. Obviously, it's not the best when it comes to attack and defense because you are forced to have a hand, but his effect of your opponent every time they special summon or normal summon, they lose 2,000 attack and defense, and then or is it just attack? I can't remember. Whatever it is, they lose their stats, and after that, if they hit zero, let's say they have less than 2,000 attack or defense, or exactly 2,000, they instantly die. Slifer the Sky Dragon has one of the most interesting effects. It is super nice to see, and honestly, if somebody could summon this, whoever gets Yugi, please try to summon it. I want to see it. But that's not all he has. Yugi has a lot of rare cards, and honestly, they don't all fit on the list. So I'm just going to list the three most important that I allowed him to have. The three most important rare cards he has are Magic Cylinder, Dark Hole, and Swords of Revealing Light. He still has Dark Hole, he still has Swords, and now he has Magic Cylinder. This card is busted. This card will win you a duel. What it does is that when an opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, negate the attack, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponents equal to its attack stat. So if they attack you with, say, I like to go to it, but let's say a Dark Magician, they take 2,500 damage. The attack is negated and they take 2,500 damage. It is insane. It's so good. It is so good. He has way more rare cards than just this, but those were the rarest cards. You know Dark Hole, you know Swords. I'm not going to explain them. You know Magic Cylinder, but that was the first time I ever explained it. So, guys, let's go ahead and move into the King of Games attack stat, which is almost perfect. This man is a beast, and the reason he is a beast is because his God card obviously can have infinite attack. If you run infinite cards, he doesn't. So he could have 6,000 attack, 6,000 defense, 7,000, 8,000 if you have Pot of Greed. It's still freaking incredible. This card is a beast. He has his Dark Magician, which is the freaking... It's the freaking proto. It's what everyone looks at. When I'm looking at a 2 tribute monster, you're looking for at least 2,500 attack because that's what Dark Magician is. That is freaking solid. He runs the Summon Skull still. That is freaking solid. He gained the Buster Blader. That is super solid. A 2 tribute monster with 2,600 attack, and it can increase its attack for every dragon monster your opponent controls and is in their graveyard. If you go up an opponent with dragon-type monsters, which a lot of them do have dragon types, Buster Blader will win you the duel. It should be called Busted Blader, except for the fact that it needs 2 tributes, but don't worry about that. Let's ignore that fact. He also has a high attack stat because he runs Valkyrion the Magna Warrior. This card has 3,500 attack, 3,850 defense, but Jesus Christ, is it hard to summon, and in this series, it's going to be almost impossible to summon. It's possible, but God, is it going to be hard. We will see what happens. His best natural beaters that don't require tributes that I can talk about are his Beta the Magnet Warrior at 1,700 attack and his Gemini Elf at 1,900 attack. These two monsters will be leading the charge in his deck. I think Yugi is going to be a big threat because of these cards. Now, let us go ahead and get into Yugi's defense stat, which is godlike. His defense stat is as good as his attack stat because guess what? He's the king of games. He runs the Giant Soldier of Stone. He's got Gamma the Magnet Warrior at 1800 defense. He's got Alpha the Magnet Warrior at 1700 defense. Both of those flying above the average. Beta has 16. That's still above the average. He runs the Queen's Knight at 1600 defense. That is above the average. He has Baphomet, which isn't very good because it's a tribute monster, but it's still 1800 defense. He has the obnoxious Celtic Guardian, which, even though his stats aren't that good, it's his effect that gives him the defense stat because it cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster that has 1900 or more attack. He has so many good defensive cards. Magic Cylinder counts as defensive card. He has Magical Hats, which counts as a defensive card. He has Spellbinding Circle, which counts as a defensive card. He has Swords of Revealing Light, the ultimate stall defensive card. Yugi is a defense master. He is an attack master and a defense master at the same time. This is a freaking menace. But we got to get into a new stat because I can't just praise the king all day. Let's go ahead and get into his speed stat, which is above average. It's still above the average because he has so many special summons. Thanks to his Swords Revealing Light that buys him time for special summons. But ignoring that, he has Baphomet, which will allow him to search from his deck. He has his fusion monsters, Arcana Knight Joker, Dark Paladin, and Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast. He does have Gaia the Dragon Champion in this time period, but because he only could have 40 cards and because I already used those in Duelist Kingdom, I have decided to take those out and no Gaia the Dragon Champion this time around. I'm sorry, if you want to see a possibility, we did Duelist Kingdom, but it never really happened, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So his speed stat is freaking solid. He also runs a card destruction with Pot of Greed, which helps him get through the deck faster. That is freaking solid. He is the king of games for a reason. He is good at everything. He's amazing at attack and defense, and he's good at freaking speed. That's awesome. His new stat, the skill stat, is average. You know, it's not the worst, not the best. The reason his skill stat isn't the best is because he doesn't really do much burning. He does not do much of that. Okay? I'm sorry. He does, like, Magic Cylinder, that's it. Not joking, that's it. Magic Cylinder is not the only reason he has 4, because remember, the skill stat is based on not just burn, it's based on win conditions, which stall can be a win condition, so Swords of Revealing Light. These 2 cards have increased his skill stat, plus he has healing cards like Magical Formula, and there's another one in here somewhere. Let's just ignore it. He has Magical Formula, he has healing potential, he's got options, guys. So that is really good. That's going to be it for his skill stat. It's at least average. He's got 2 cards to help with his stall burn. It's nice. Getting into the King of Games brick stat. A lot of you might be yelling at me right now. Like, Cooper, you were just praising the man. What the hell happened? Yami Yugi, compared to every other person in this tournament, has the worst brick stat in the game. He is our new brick house. He runs Dark Magician, he runs Baphomet, he runs Summon Skull, he runs Jack's Knight, he runs Slifer, he runs Valkyria Magna the Magic Warrior, he runs Buster Blader, he runs Dark Magician Girl, he runs Magic Formula, he runs Chain Destruction, he runs Life Force Sword, he runs freaking Exchange, he runs Double Spell. He has too many cards in his deck that just straight up brick him. Compared to everyone else in the tournament, he is the brick master. The only reason he's not completely brick stat is because he does have some normal monsters to save him, but no, he is as bricky as Bandit Keith was in Duelist Kingdom, which, as you saw the Duelist Kingdom tournament, even though Bandit Keith was bricky, when he wasn't bricky, he just straight up won the duels. When he was bricky, that's where he lost. That's going to happen to Yugi. Yugi, when he gets the cards he needs, that's just a couple solid cards here and there, he will win the duel no problem. If he draws like 3 of these cards that brick up his hand, he will lose the duel. He will lose the duel. It's just going to happen. So despite his amazing stats, that brick stat is god-awful. But despite the brick stat, despite everything, remember, in Duelist Kingdom, I gave Bandit Keith the exact same brick stat. I called it the brick house. It wasn't the worst brick stat in that series, but it is the worst brick stat in this series. He has the brick house stat, but it's okay. And you know why it's okay? Because Bandit Keith still got third with that brick stat in Duelist Kingdom. So you know what? Potential for Yami Yugi is a 4-star potential. That is right. The King of Games has the same potential that he did in the last series. Despite the high brick stat, his attack and defense stat are godlike. His speed stat is really good, and his skill stat is usable. He has cards that will get him what he needs, but he also has so many cards that are situational and that will hurt his deck. He runs Polymerization. That is a brick card. He has too many bricks, but that doesn't mean he can't win a duel. We saw Bandit Keith get third place with this exact same brick stat, and you know what? I think the King of Games can win a tournament with this brick stat. I gave him 4 stars despite the brick. That's how much I believe in him, and that's how much I think that brick stat does not matter as much in Battle City. I know it mattered a shit ton more than I thought it should have in freaking Duelist Kingdom, but in Battle City, I don't think it matters as much as attack, defense, speed, and skill. It's nowhere near as important. It's not the most important stat. That's why Yami Yugi still gets 4 stars. Please remember to like and subscribe, everybody.